this is obviously going to be for all of our rec coaches. We are not doing a live video this year, and we had said we weren't going to do one, but I think in the best interest of everyone, we're just going to add some tidbits, go over some things that we've done in the past, and then add any new stuff in. So my name is Ryan Arotin. I'm the general manager here at Fire FC, and I'm also the recreational director. So a lot of the emails that come out, you'll see from me. And then I have Nick Gumpert, who is our program educator, director, jack of all trades in as well. So you'll see him here too, and he'll kind of poke his voice in as needed. And then he'll finish up with any of the resources that our club has started to provide for everyone. So just simple stuff, names to faces. And then as we get through this, you'll see just simple information. So we'll just kind of move through, try not to make it a super long video for everyone, but something that is useful for you guys and you can come back to at any time. I think the big thing that everybody needs to understand that this is a recreational program, and it's something that we provide for these kids that's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to promote the game of soccer, and it's really just a tool for these kids to build skills, some with the soccer ball and then some without the soccer ball. And the idea is are we creating good humans, good teammates, and respectable people, and learning the game. So they are still kids, and the goal should be centered around the kids, and it's not to be taken as we're coaching other adults. And I think that's where, as long as parents understand that, and as long as you as coaches understand that, you're going to have a great time, and they're going to have a great time. Can we get them to come back season after season after season, rather than just say I had a bad experience because my coach was mean? How can we build that relationship? Can you get into their brains? Can you afford fun for them? Can you show them what that looks like? As most of you are going to see, and as you've gone through this tedious process of the background checks, the safe sports, the heads up protocols, which is the concussion protocols. And I understand, guys, this process sucks. I have to do it myself as a staff coach here at this club, but understand this is a CSA mandatory test for all coaches. And the idea behind this is it keeps every aspect of the kids, the players, the parents, and yourselves safe and in a safe space to make sure everybody feels comfortable. These background checks are mandatory. Everyone has to do them for most of their jobs. The safe sport, as you've seen, goes through specific scenarios, and then the concussion protocol. And a lot of this is coming through to us because of scenarios that are happening in other places. So it's a back end protocol to make sure that you understand what happens, and you understand that, hey, if someone gets hit in the head, are we letting them go back and play, or are we checking on them, understanding that there may be repercussions if that kid were to die or something were to happen? So keep you liable, make you understand the symptoms, and so on and so forth. Do I think that there is a better way to do this? Yes, there is a better way to do this, but they haven't provided that to us. So unfortunately, right now, this is what we have to do. The background checks, and they last 2 years. So every 2 years, you'll have to redo this background check. But the safe sport and the concussion protocol are now a yearly thing. So what should happen is after the first time you do it, you should be able to go back in and take a refresher course the following year and not have to go back through the entire course. The refresher course is just slightly different. It takes a lot less time, 15 minutes or so between both courses, and it should put you right back into it. And the cool thing now is that these two elements should automatically update into the system, so we don't have to go back in and track those down. This year was a little bit different just because we had to manually go through each individual coach. Mark Ashworth had to go through and individually add all of you in, so it took longer than normal. So we apologize for that. It was just kind of the hand we were dealt. So like I said, it sucks. We get it, but it's mandatory, and we're going to enforce these as long as we have to. And it's for the safety of everyone, and I hope everybody understands that. I'm going to skip. I'm going to put a bunch of things together. So I want you guys to understand that the website is going to be a huge tool, which Nick is going to go through here in a little bit. But we have a new rec field map, and some of it's familiar and some of it's not. So our U4s through our U8s, your guys' fields haven't changed. So you're still going to see the smaller blue signs that are out at the fields that are going to indicate for the U4s, field A, B, C, and D. And then for all the U6 games, you're going to be using the B fields, so B1 through 9. And then U7s and U8s, you guys are going to be using the C, D fields, and then the E, F, and G fields, so the bigger 4v4 fields. Now, for those fields, for the age groups above that, so the U9, 10s, and the, or the U9s, U10, 11s, and then the middle school, what you guys are going to start to see is we now have a numbering system on these fields. So on the back of the 9v9 nets and then the back of the 11v11 nets, you're going to see numbers. Okay, those numbers are going to correspond onto your schedules, which you have already seen. So 4B, 4A is an example. Okay, 5B, 5A, which is not a field there, but just to give you the examples. All of the B fields are going to be on the south end of that specific field. All of the A fields will be on the north side of that. If you're not a north and south, you'll just be a regular number, say 1, okay, or 2. The reason we did this is because it had to match the state level. For the referees, it makes a lot of sense. And then for you guys as coaches, it makes a lot more sense to say, hey, we're on this field 4B. Now we can see the number. You're not looking for this tiny little sign on the field, and it causes confusion for everyone. So you'll see that starting this weekend, and then it'll forever be there. If for some reason you don't see it, a number on the map, that's probably when you make the phone call to the office, or you find one of the referees or myself or Jerry Becerra out at the fields and ask for any input there. Nick, do you want to butt in anything to this point, or are you okay?
Nope, I think we're good.
Okay. Uniform reminders. As I sent an email out earlier today, most have done this already, but at this point, our uniform stock is low, really low. I think I only have a couple of sizes left, the extra smalls, the mediums, and the adult smalls. We do have an order in for that, okay, but make sure your parents are ordering these uniforms, and I'll always tell you guys that the sooner you come and get these, the better off you're going to be. If you wait until Thursday or Friday, the day before your games, the chances of our stocks being lower or higher. Okay, we're going to adjust that a little bit in the future to make sure the orders are here in time and that there's always a stock available. But just understand that you run the risk of not having a jersey week 1 if you legitimately wait till the last week. And I think that we could use you coaches as a resource to make sure we're pushing that along to your teams so that they're not flustered and scrambling last minute. I mean, everyone procrastinates at some level, so we understand that too. Practices and games. Schedules are all online on our website, and rosters are all online on our websites. So most of you have your rosters. Actually, I think all of you have your rosters now, and all of you have your schedules. I will remind you that to double check those schedules before you leave the field. We go to the fields this weekend, so check tonight, check tomorrow, because there are schedules that have changed slightly just based on coaches with multiple teams, coaches that had conflicts that they couldn't make it for certain games. So double check, please, before you walk out the door so you know what field you're on and you know what time you're on. With that being said, practices are 100% up to you guys, and most of you have known that by now. It is, as volunteer coaches, you get the choice of what time, when to practice, where to practice. We just ask that you guys look to make practices after the 5:30 time to allow people to get to those training sessions. And that way parents aren't having to scramble to get kids from school or get off of work in time or get kids from daycare. I think the biggest question we always get is how often should I practice and how long should I practice? It's a different for each age group. For our U4s and U5 coaches, practice is almost an optional. I don't necessarily think you have to have a practice. I think the games once a week is perfectly fine. Now it's 100% up to you. 4 and 5-year-olds, if you're going to have one practice a week is perfectly fine. And I would say try not to break the max ceiling of a 40-minute practice. You're dealing with 4 and 5-year-olds whose attention span is about as good as a guppy or a young fish. So you're dealing with that. Make it fun, make the environment always moving, give them breaks, and then just keep it rolling from there. Now the U6 to U8 level, you could do 1 as a minimum and 2 as a maximum. I would say same distance of time, try to keep it between the 30 to 45-minute range. And once again, you're dealing with kids whose attention span is still very, very short. Same concept, fun, keep them moving, keep them engaged. Now, when we get to the U9s and older, so up to middle school, I say the minimum is 2, and I would still keep the maximum at 2 practices a week. And I would say between the 1 hour and an hour and a half. And I say the 1 hour for the younger, so U9s, even the U10, 11s, 1 hour, and then for the middle school, an hour and a half. And that just gives you the ability to work on a little bit more. Their attention span's a little bit higher, and you're going to be working with kids who need to burn off more energy based on their days at school. Games once a week. Some of you guys are going to have schedules where you have 2, just based on the number of teams that are inside those brackets. So you might have a doubleheader. Doubleheader means you play 8:30 and 11. Some of you have bye weeks in there as well. So make sure you're very aware of that situation when you do look at your schedule. Now, as far as the field usage, which is one of the hot topics that we always go through, the spring was different because of the situation we were in, and it won't change. But the fall, I still say our field space at Canyon View is limited. We have 21 competitive teams at our Fire FC program, and we still have the Junction High School boys varsity and JV program out there. So at the current moment, our competitive teams are occupying Pollock, Bangs, Maverick, Horse Thief, and Ruby, and Junction High School boys are occupying Bear. Okay, and these teams are going to get priority over these fields simply because they pay a lot more money to get into those field spaces, and they're going to be using it for a longer period of time. So my recommendation is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I wouldn't even look to have practices at Canyon View if you're already there. The Monday and Friday is a little bit more open because teams don't train. Our competitive teams in high schools are less limited to be in those spaces. Now, if you're asking us, where do we train then, Ryan? Because there's nowhere else to practice. You don't need a ton of space. Middle school and the older ages, yeah, you might need a little bit more, but you don't necessarily need goals, so to speak. I would say any park that's within distance of your house or any of these schools that these kids might go to, you could look into doing elementary schools, middle schools, any of the high schools. If you're going to go that route, then you kind of have to reach out to the school first, and then the school's going to ask for the insurance of the club, which we can provide to them to make sure that if something happens in their area, that they're not liable for your guys' use of that field. Churches is another good option. There's a ton of city parks all over the place. I think it's kind of your guys' creativity to say, hey, let's find a place that doesn't have anybody else, that we know we're not going to be bumping shoulders with someone else, and it's our own space. You could also shoot for Longs Park. Longs Park's not a bad place to go. Typically, there's some space out there. Please understand that Central High School will have priority over that. So there are soccer teams who are out there, and then anybody who's already rented the space. So please be aware of that. If you happen to have a practice somewhere and someone asks you to leave the space because they have it reserved, please be cautious of that and be respectful of that person's time because they likely already have that space reserved. You're going to run into Fire FC coaches out at Canyon View. Just ask them, where's a good place for me to go if you're setting up on their field and they ask you to move politely. Just ask them. They can point you in the right direction, or you can always reach out to the office, and anybody who's in the office can kind of help guide you guys in the right direction. Last thing on my agenda before I let Nick kind of get into this is the picture packets, which MJ Thomas does all these pictures for these teams. We've been in contact with the new person who's in charge, and her name is Michelle Sanders. She's creating a schedule that is going to work based on the schedule that's been posted online for you guys. She has all of the coaches' contact information via email. So here in the next 24 to 48 hours, she will be sending that schedule out to you guys. Okay, now that is your guys' responsibility to make sure you guys at least look at that and make sure you know what day and what time they're asking your team to be there and available for those pictures. We're also going to send this out to all of the recreational parents as well to make sure that they're on the same page. So that way they're not forgetting anything. And we're just trying to do our due diligence with MJ Thomas to make sure you guys get pictures taken if you want them, and that obviously people are just not no showing and they have no idea when these pictures are supposed to be. So we'll just make sure we double check on that as well. Outside of that, if you guys have questions based on any of the information that's been covered to this point, I'm the best person to contact for this. Once again, my name is Ryan Arotin. I am the general manager. Best way to get a hold of me is through email. My email is rpar92@gmail.com. And my information is on the website underneath the admin staff or even the coaching staff, and those emails come directly to me. Or you guys can call the office, 970-242-4550, and I'm at extension 1. Just understand that the influxes of the day mean that I don't always answer the phone. If there's customers in here, I'll let that go as I'm dealing with someone here. So email is typically the best way to get a hold of me, and I'm very quick about getting back to that.
Ryan,
what's up, Nick?
Have a quick question for that novice rec coach. He's like, great, I know how long to do it for. I know how often to do it. How about ideas? Any thoughts with where I can get ideas?
Just as far as where to go to find ideas or how to generate ideas?
Both. Like what ideas should a volunteer coach be mindful of to say, I'm a blank slate, never played the sport, but I'm coaching. What can I do? What are some examples? Any thoughts or resources there?
Yeah, I mean, like the ultimate one most people are going to go is straight to Google. It's just like, hey, U4 training sessions for kids. It's like that's a go to. I mean, there's going to be tons of stuff there that they're going to shoot you. YouTube's a good option, and we have our own YouTube channel, which you're going to go through here in a bit.
Yep.
If there's anything wrong with reaching out to any of our staff at the office and asking for ideas of the certain ages, we've got ridiculously qualified staff that can help at any point. Or reach out to anybody who who may have done this before, who is in the same position. I think you all as coaches are resources to each other to say, hey, I've been at the U4 level before. I'm not a professional at any level, but this is what I did for these kids, and this was we had a lot of fun. It was productive.
Perfect.
And I think Nick is the other option. Nick is one of the most qualified people to talk to, and you can always talk with Nick and kind of use him as a resource too. So I think this is the part where I'll kind of turn it over to Nick, and mostly Nick's going to go through just the website and kind of the resources. And the resources that we have for all of you guys are things that revolve around the recreational rules. So this is the age groups, this is the rules matrix. This is going to be any of the curriculum that we have on the website, and then what YouTube, what our website, what Instagram, what Facebook mean. So I'll kind of let Nick roll through that for a couple minutes, and then we'll kind of wrap it up.
Perfect. Yeah. So wanted to just tell, and hopefully it's not telling you as much as it is reminding you that you're not alone on this volunteer coach path for our recreational program. Ryan just alluded to a number of resources that we have set up for you to look at on your own time. So starting with our own website, gjsoccer.org, there's going to be a whole slew of just pieces of information for you as a coach to reference to. And you're going to have your own individual tab to be able to go through. Again, won't get into the nitty gritty. Just know that it's there for you at gjsoccer.org. And there are tabs for coaches. There are tabs for recreation, recreational soccer. So just know that lives there and sits there, and that does get updated. If you have anything to add to or suggest, feel free to reach out to us at gjsoccerinfo@gmail.com. So that's our website in a nutshell. A lot of what goes on our website will get filtered through to our social media channels, as Ryan alluded to. So starting off with YouTube, we have a YouTube channel. Just Google us, Fire FC, Grand Junction, Colorado, something to that effect, and it will come up. It'll populate our main YouTube channel. And then just know I have created playlists specifically for coaches. So you can steal whatever content that relates to you as a coach. Be like, love that. Write it down, listen to it, watch it. Again, that's all there and lives for you there to watch on your own time. So it's not time sensitive, right? Being our YouTube channel. Ryan also alluded to us having an Instagram and a Facebook. Again, nice resources for you to have as a coach. Know that gets updated, if not daily, definitely weekly. We're putting new content up there on a regular basis. So find us on Instagram. I believe it's GJ Soccer. something to that effect. Again, just search us there and you can find us easy enough if you don't already follow us. And we give ideas for players, ideas for parents that you can share with your own parent groups, and ideas for you as a coach to continue to grow and get better in that space. So those are the main places that we have communication lines with you coaches and for your parent groups. And also know this, we share a monthly newsletter that has its own recreational space to give updates as well. So maybe you're just like, I don't know everything that's going on in the club. I know I'm a rec coach, but I don't know what to share. Know that comes out every month. So if you don't get that already, feel free to share your email with us, and I can add you to the list at, again, gjsoccerinfo@gmail.com. And if you get it already, brilliant. And feel free to forward that on to parents that may be wondering, hey, what is going on with the rec space? What are we doing? What's coming up? Because Sean, Matt, Danny, myself, I feel like do a very consistent job of just sharing information based on what has happened, what is happening, and what is coming up and will happen. So just make sure you follow that monthly newsletter as well that comes through via email there. There again, I share it on social media via Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. So those are the main spaces that Fire FC is a resource for you as a coach to access on your own time. And as Ryan alluded to, reach out to us if you guys have any questions. I've already shared our email a couple times that you can reach out there, or him personally, pertaining to rec questions there. Ryan, anything that you can think of that I missed?
I don't think so. I think it's important for you all to understand the resources that are available to you guys and not fight the process by yourself, because we've all been there. We've all walked through this valley together. So please reach out if you have questions, or if you need help, or if there's an issue that you can't solve. It's not a us versus them mentality. We are very much so one club, both competitive and recreational. And we're doing our best to give you guys the resources that you need to be successful and have fun, because that's at the end of the day what this recreational program is about. Yep. No one likes to come home and just stress about recreational soccer because they can't get the kids to listen, or it's not fun for them. So don't get to that point. Start the conversation much sooner. And the avenues are all there. So like
Ryan, real quick, you said us versus them, and it made me think of Level Up, which used to be our PDP, our player development program. It's been rebranded as Level Up. If you're a rec coach and you've heard of either one or both of those programming names, that's one that unfortunately gets tossed around as it's Level Up versus rec coaches. It's not that at all. So just know Level Up is a standalone program that Fire FC has created to create an opportunity for players and coaches that want supplemental trainings, meaning it's in addition to what you do, not in place of what you do. And know that those videos also lie within our YouTube channel, so you and your parents can get a better idea as to what is Level Up if you've never heard of it. And this is the first time I'm even bringing it up for you. What is that about? Can kids do both? What does it entail? All those questions are answered on our YouTube channel. So just know that is also a very good resource to educate yourself, again, as a coach, and your parent groups as a team.
It's a good little segue there. Yeah, the us versus them. I mean, this is essentially, these programs are built for kids who are wanting more, who are looking for a little bit extra, and our staff coaches are part of that. So we're wanting to give that to you guys. So I want to make sure you guys all are aware that you're the reason that these programs are available for all these kids. You guys are really the engine that makes this run. Without the rec coaches, this is not possible, and these kids wouldn't have the opportunity to play. Some of it might be pulling teeth to get you guys to want to help us, but we have to do it in order to make these situations work. So thank you from the club. Thank you from myself. Thank you from the staff that goes through all the process to make this work for everyone. Once again, you guys have my contact information. I'll spell it out again here, and then I'll get you Nick's contact information as far as the generic GJ Soccer route goes. So my email address is rpar92@gmail.com. The generic GJ informational email address is gjsoccerinfo@gmail.com. Either one of those options are a good route to go. And if you can't get a hold of anyone that route, please just call the office, 970-242-4550. We've got 6 office staff members in here that are fully capable of answering questions that you guys might need, or even questions that parents might have that you can't answer for them. Use us, please use us. We're the resources. We're going to help. We'll help however, wherever, whenever. So thank you guys. We appreciate your time.